There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP Morning Show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, Graham Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. I thought I'd better get that off the screen before I started talking, hence the little pause there. Still a slightly sore throat. Look, there's a church in Évora, having, you know, on Wikipedia, you can find out how to pronounce the names of towns. And ever since I found out how to pronounce Évora, well, according to Wikipedia, that stayed in my mind as a kind of creepy voice, a little bit like the creepy walls of human bones in the chapel there, the Chapel of Bones. Have you been there? Does it feel creepy? I think it's probably quite hard for it not to feel creepy as you're surrounded by hundreds of skulls and bones looking at you from the walls of a chapel. What were they thinking? Anyway, Évora is where that Chapel of Bones is. Good morning to you. How are you this morning on the Good Morning Portugal show? We've got a lovely show lined up for you this morning. We've got Fab and Ian, Fabrizio and Ian reporting from the capital. And of course, they'll be giving us their monthly update of what's going on in Lisbon, how it is for them as buyer's agents in Lisbon, and a preview of Lisbon Pride 2023. I don't think I've ever been to a Pride March. I don't think I've ever seen one going down the street. So it'll be an education for me, maybe you as well. Don't know if you've been or have or not been to a Pride March, but I think Lisbon's Pride March is one of a great global reputation. So we'll find out more about that as well. And Snapshot June of 2023 is out and available. And Alyson Sheldrake, the co-creator, along with husband Dave Sheldrake, a top photographer in the Algarve, he's a top photographer wherever he goes, but he tends to focus on the Algarve, as does Snapshot magazine. Although, to be fair, all Portugal coverage, looking at interesting characters and places and experiences all over Portugal. And we'll be talking to Ali and previewing the June edition, which is fresh out. It's the 1st of June, which reminds me, I woke up with a slightly awkward two awkward feelings, still got a little bit of a sore throat. However, before I go on to the second awkward feeling of the morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning to you, Deagle, to Anna, to Andy, to Matty, T-Duck, James, and Coach Turner, who are in already and might like to know that if you do have a sore throat in Portugal, you know I'm a big fan of are these Dr. Bayards or are they the copy? Oh, I can't believe it. I fell for it. These aren't these are Dr. Bench. Dr. Bench. And I was really pleased with myself because I thought I'd found some variations of the Dr. Bayard. It's a Dr. Bayard copy. But anyway, carrying on as though nothing ever happened. These guys, Dr. Bench, not Dr. Bayard, do Limão e Mento, which are going down very well in the house because Mrs. M still got this as well. And got a sore throat and swollen glands, not the in a good way, we have to say. Dr. Bench, Laranja e Mento. Sarah, it was good fun, wasn't it? Teaching Sarah Portuguese yesterday. For you, Sarah, Laranja is orange menthol, obviously fairly obvious. Menthol, not mental. And Limão. You see, I think Sarah will be interested to know what lemon is because she might order the occasional gin and tonic here in Portugal. So Limão e Mento. We tend to learn what we need to know, right? So there you go. You're very welcome, Sarah. New variants. Although coming spring and summer, you wouldn't think that's a time of point of sale cough sweets, but there you go. We seem to have a seasonal, an extraordinary, an unseasonal sore throat right now. The other uncomfortable feeling this morning was, oh, how wonderful, the 1st of June. Oh, I didn't pay my IUC, my tax of circulation on the Portuguese roads. So I'm going to attempt to do that live this morning. Oh, Wallet is nearby. and see if I'm too late. The problem with sometimes with Portuguese payments to the government is if you miss your deadline, it disappears. And then you have to walk on your hands and knees across the concourse at Fatima, begging for forgiveness and the issuance of a new invoice of some sort, because the old one's just vaporized like Cinderella at midnight. And I'm going to find out on your behalf. I'm going to take one for the team and find out what happens if you haven't paid your IUC by the 31st of May deadline. I'm not proud of it, but I thought whilst I'm doing it, rather than try and squeeze that in before the show, I'll do it live, and then you can see what happens as a sort of group learning and a group evolution, because we are a collective evolutionary being. We had our conversation, didn't we, about being an expat, an immigrant, or a foreigner. But as a blob of people who are new to Portugal in relative states of newness, we're a collective, aren't we? And we're an evolutionary mass of an expat migration phenomenon, all learning from each other and adding to our collective knowledge by having experiences here and talking about them, and then maybe not paying the fine late next year. Learning from hard-won experience, our own and others. Excellent dad jokes I see already. Is there more than one here? There are 2 chiropractor jokes knocking about this morning as well. Very good. Oh, no, that's a description of the square-rigged caravel, another Portuguese invention that we're continuing this week, thanks to T-Duck. So before I attempt to pay my fine online, let's see how everybody's doing this morning. 7:14 this morning. You'll like my first picture from the picture deck this morning, Coach Turner. It is a Intermarché cocktail de fruta, and calda ligeira. It's in a, calda, it's sometimes caldas de reña, gets translated as queen syrup. And here we understand why, because the fruit cocktail in a tin always comes in a sweet syrup, doesn't it? And that's exactly how it came. When I opened it, to the amazement of my 4-year-old son yesterday, he was so delighted. He saw the picture on the tin and he asked me if I'd open it, which I did. And then he was really, he had this beautiful, we're talking about the Portuguese age of discovery. He's having his own age of discovery, of course, at 4 years of age. So many new experiences every day. And he looked into this tin and he looked at me like, Dad, am I right in thinking that there are little bits of all kinds of different fruit in here, covered in sweet, syrupy liquid? And I said, yes, son, that is right. And he said, wow, that's amazing. He loves it. And of course, not the ideal combo for strong, healthy teeth. Now, I realize that. But a nice treat every now and then, and better than none at all, better than no fruit at all, I think, Coach. That was the point Coach Turner was making. So I've been doing my homework, Coach. Bon dia todos, you say, early this morning. I have to head back home from Stamford in Lincolnshire. Oh, how was it? You're working on the old race car. Looking forward to Silverstone coming up soon as well. Is that this weekend or the one after? We're off to Porto, of course, this weekend to watch the FA Cup final. A few lads converging. Ladies, welcome as well. In Porto, a sports bar in Porto. We're going to be there on Saturday watching the Manchesters play each other. All welcome. Let us know if you'd like to join us for that. So cheers, Coach Turner. Thank you for squeezing us in early this morning. Who doesn't like to be squeezed in early first thing in the morning? God Squad tip of the day then. I heard yesterday that one of my fellow coaches had died. That's always a shocker, isn't it? Sorry to hear that, Coach T. An Olympic, European and Commonwealth medalist. He had gone on to coach many successful UK sprinters. So I suspect will be sadly missed by the people whose lives he or she touched. And helped along the way, along the track, metaphorically. Wow. And you're only talking to him on Saturday. It's at times like this, you realize how important it is to look after yourself. And he didn't. Okay. Interesting there, Coach T. Sorry to hear of the loss of your friend. So on that sad note, back to nutrition. Protein is, of course, part of a healthy diet. And I tend to eat more chicken and eggs than red meat, as well as salmon and mackerel. Have you seen, though, Coach T, this preponderance, is that the right word, upswell of people who are most definitely eating red meat? I am eating red meat, and I'm only eating red meat, 3 steaks every meal. And you see these little Instagram and Facebook channels of people who are dedicating themselves to saying this is what we humans should eat. For every diet, there is a fanatic or a spectrum, isn't there, of people who are just dipping their toe, or absolute converts. This is the only diet humans were meant to have. And that happens for every single diet. Interestingly, okay, well, back to Coach T then and the God Squad tip of the day on protein. One of my favorite dishes is cassoulet, which combines chicken and chorizo with lots of beans. It certainly does, leaving out the blazing saddles quips. Yes, the dish is relatively healthy and delicious and nice to make. It is a nice recipe to make, isn't it? Fry those onions off, brown your meat. No. And then chuck in the beans and maybe you might want some celery in there. Some celery, a bit of flavor, or another root vegetable perhaps. Do you put some potatoes in there, or do you have it with potatoes and mash? Very nice, cassoulet. That may have people reaching for the beans today, not a euphemism. And Portugal, great place, of course, to buy beans, tinned beans of all kinds and fresh beans at the market. You want to be soaking those bad boys. It's the lectins, isn't it, in beans that can be a little bit antisocial. And the reason why you boil the dried bean and why it's a little bit easier sometimes to just buy a tin of beans, drain them off. And you might want to give them an extra boil as well sometimes. Beans, I mean, they got some hardy minerals in there, haven't they? And nutrients that can cope with the boiling. Not many live nutrients, I would imagine, in a bean. But maybe some of the live nutrition is brought back to life by the hydration process. I'm really not sure, as you can tell here. But a real cornucopia, a beautiful selection of beans here in Feijoal here in Portugal. Really, really good. What's that? Compal, isn't it? Is the brand. And all the supermarkets have their own brands of tinned beans as well. White beans, brown beans, black-eyed beans, every possible conceivable type of bean, or most of them anyway, do figure here on the shelves of the Portuguese supermarket. So cheers, Coach T, for that. And sorry to hear about your mate. Bon de alegria, gumpers from a tea duck then at 7:54. The deep thought of the day, Pliny the Elder we're staying with this week. The best kind of wine, here we go, is that which is most pleasant to him who drinks it. I'm going to have to squirrel that away for Monday because it is the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Once a month, we taste a wine. Normally a wine, excuse me, need to cough. Got some lovely video coming up. I'll be able to cough to my heart's content and you won't be able to hear it. But normally one wine, two on Monday. We have got the marvelous, the rather marvelous, dear boy, so lovely to see you on our screen again. Terence Austin will be with us on Monday at 8 o'clock. So that's Monday, the 5th of June, I believe, is it not? Let me just check for you. Yeah, Monday the 5th. And he's going head to head on two white wines here, a Douro Branco and a Setúbal Branco, the Alto Pina and the Kopke. Kopke make port as well, I think, up there in the Douro, as you might imagine. A well-established brand with which looks something like the hand-stamped barrels of port in their branding there. And I'm going to go to Estado Liquido this afternoon. I'm taking my car into the repairers, the services. It needs its inspection. And I will get back to trying to pay my road tax in just a moment and seeing what happens with that online. And I'm going to stick my bicycle in the back of the car. I'm going to take the car to the Tejual. I'm going to get my bike out and then cycle to Estado Liquido and then cycle to the train station, get on the train, come back to San Martino de Porto from Caldas de Rainha and cycle home, possibly with 2 bottles of wine. Now, this could go horribly wrong, couldn't it? I could have 2 bottles of wine in my backpack and get very thirsty in the heat, the searing heat. And it looks like a beautiful day today. Drink the wine, end up drunk in a hedge and wake up far too late tonight for the Expats Portugal webinar. So I must remember not to do that, obviously. And do join us on Monday. I feel naked without that bit of branding there. The screen, the set has been designed for that to overlay there of Good Morning Portugal and the Herdade de Mayo logo there, top right. I feel naked without it now, and it was really weird when I couldn't find it the other day. And that wasn't me. It was a software glitch, and some of me little bits of graphics got hidden. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I don't want to be back late tonight for this. Lisbon versus Porto. A bit of fun tonight. The great debate continues. Best place to live in Portugal. Jerry's already through for Central Portugal. He triumphed over the Algarve. Astrid went out in the first round with the Alentejo. So still in it. Lisbon and Porto, who will battle it out tonight. Then they'll face Jerry, who represents Central Portugal, in early July. So join us tonight for that. And of course, at 9 o'clock, the Dream Team session as well. So we're in the company of all these wonderful folks. Well, some of them anyway. It's a revolving, a movable feast, and various experts from the incredible package of professionals that you can work with when you become an Expats Portugal member. The website is up. Yes, the Expats Portugal website was migrated successfully. So that's all back online with a nice new look to it. And just settling in and bedding in, and the professionals that you'll find on that website. Some of them will be with me tonight from 9 o'clock. Find out who by tuning in at 9 tonight and ask them any questions you have about moving to Portugal, direct from the professional horse's mouth, as it were, tonight at 9 after the Lisbon versus Porto region. Who are you rooting for? I'm sure there'll be comments about that this morning. Victoria's in since I turned my back. And there's even a tinned cassoulet, says Bayrandi. Thank you, Bayrandi. Who I imagine does like a Blazing Saddles joke or two. He likes a spicy sausage, does Bayrandi. And from a very happy taxi who got a severe warning from 4 dogs guarding a field full of goats across our road. I broke a nail, hustling him away quickly. Hate it when that happens, breaking a nail. I do that sometimes when I move very quickly across the keyboard here. And come on, Lisboa, baby. Berber, says Lord Gilchrist. Okay, come back to all your comments in just a little while. Shall I try and pay my... Let me just see what happens then. I don't know whether I should share this on screen and run the risk of giving away my information again. I will describe what I'm doing. I'm at Portal das Finanças. I'll give you that as a link inside the chat. So that's where I'm headed now, to Portal das Finanças. So you can look at it for yourself if you want to. This is where all of the payments to the government really are amassed and are waiting you. And I'm going to see if my reminder to pay my road tax is still there. I'm not on the road. My car is in my driveway. I am going through using my NIF number and my key. And here I am. And I think, have I been fined already for not paying that yet? And what I don't like is, oh, no, it's still on there. You see, what can sometimes happen is if you don't pay something on time in Portugal, it disappears. And then you know you're in a dangerous, fine-laden limbo for a little while as you ask for another invoice or payment detail, the numbers you need, the entity number of whom you pay at the multibank, or the amount. It's only those two, isn't it? If you're making a government payment, you only need the reference and the amount. Let me see. Going in, pressing the button, the Vermelho button, and I want to pay my IUC. It's getting complicated, but I'm asking, and it's 6064. Can I pay it online? I'm going to try it now. So I can see it's the right matriculation number of my vehicle. And I had a payment limit of yesterday to pay it, and I'm going in. Can I pay it? Do you know what? I think I might have missed my opportunity to pay it, or have I? Emit para pagamento. Here we go. We're going in. It's 6064, so that you know. Can I have a little... Yes, I can go in. I can pay via MBWay. I'm pressing that button now and seeing, yes, I can have that sent to myself. I'm putting my phone number in. You know the number. The government have the number for the Iberian FM phone in 913-590-303. And I'm accepting the conditions of paying by MBWay. Let me see if I can do that right now without avoiding a fine, because I am a day late. Did you hear that tone coming in to tell me that there is a payment waiting for me to approve over there on MBWay? I'm going to go in now, and hopefully there won't be any problems paying this. I'm going to go to my Actividad to see if this is amazing. We are paying the car tax of Portugal live on air in my activity section of MBWay. It has come up for payment. I'm going to press the pagar button right now, and I've got to put my code in again to prove it's me. And I'm pushing the button, and payment has been authorized. I rock, quite frankly, I rock. Continua. Is that all going to tie up nicely on the screen there? I have no idea, but I would say I've paid successfully. And I'm feeling quite proud of myself. And if you didn't understand at all what was going on there, I am sorry. But some people will know what's going on there. In fact, I think it was João Denort who said he'd already paid his. He's all over it, these administrative matters. And he said, yeah, I feel part of the it was one of those moments for him, part of the furniture, I suppose, a Portuguese moment where he paid it online, and he was paying his dues, as it were, here in Portugal, and feels part of things. Isn't that a lovely milestone moment? Portal works if it has been populated with all of the information. Well, it looks like it did. I just paid mine. Fantastic. I'm so pleased. So no further fines for being a day late. Are there people yawning and falling asleep inside the chat here? James, you rascal. Well, this is dull. Carl paying his bills. Some people... Well, everyone's very frank and open and honest this morning, aren't they? Some people... Can somebody come to my help? And that's going to be embarrassing, isn't it? If nobody does come to my aid as I give my... as I show myself to be a responsible citizen, albeit a day late, and the fact that you can pay your bills online. And thank you, Anna. Congrats, Carl. That's how I do. Learning by doing. I try to be as digital as I can. Mrs. Yes. Thank you very much for that. And how do you find out if you have to pay taxes? You see, it has been of use to people. You'll find out if you haven't paid your taxes and there are fines due via the very same system there. Get yourself an accountant. Don't try and do it on your own, Matty. Seriously. Get a pro. Talk to Raquel, who thinks things are bubbling here in Portugal. Back to, all right, too boring for you. Let's talk about people's spicy sausages instead then, shall we? All right. Keep watching until the GNR show up with handcuffs. IUC has a slight increase if you missed a date. I had the devil's own job. Listen to that English turn of phrase, as you might expect from an English lord. It was the devil's own job, you know, to pay the state, as the portal to Finanzas was missing car information. You're just jealous, aren't you? Because it was boring for me because it was nice and easy rather than the devil's own job. There for you, Lord Gilchrist. You're such a lord. Honestly. Okay, where did we get to? Should we switch from motor cars to ocean-going vessels as we continue our look at the age of discovery and the inventions that were created by the Portuguese at that time? Okay, let's do that. Yes, I hear you say. Okay. Portuguese saying of the day, though, before we go there, is caridade começa em casa, which, of course, even with the most basic grasp of Portuguese, you could figure out charity begins at home. Another one of those universal sentiments there in the Portuguese, a caridade começa em casa. Quem sabia then? Who knew? The square-rigged, rigging. The square-rigged Caravela Redonda was a sailing ship created by the Portuguese in the second half of the 15th century. I have got Ian and Fabrizio in the green room waiting to come onto the screen, and they too may have fallen asleep watching me pay my car tax live on the show. Let's see if I can revive them from their glazed over expressions. Or maybe they're just really interested in what I'm about to say. The sailing ship created by the Portuguese in the second half of the 15th century. This caravel had a notable role in the Portuguese age of discovery, especially in the first half of the 16th century for its exceptional maneuverability. And that's a beautiful word, isn't it? Maneuver. And combat capabilities. The hull was galleon-shaped, and some experts consider this vessel a forerunner of the fighting galleon known by the name the Caravela de Armada in Portuguese. And we have an illustration of said vessel. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? It's just a pen portrait there, not an actual photograph from, is it the 16th century? I saw somebody post up a photograph and it said, this is Leonardo da Vinci with his model, the Mona Lisa, in a rare photograph. And some people actually put, wow, underneath it. I think some of the AI malarkey going on. The hull was a galleon-shaped, and some experts consider this vessel a forerunner of the fighting galleon known by the name Caravela de Armada in Portuguese. Beautiful. A thing of beauty for sure, like that tall ship that's going around Portugal at the moment that I knew nothing about, but the Gumpers did for sure. I love that. And there you see that That is, I guess that's the sign of the Portuguese, isn't it? The Templar Red Cross that you will see as well, or a similar resonance to it, if not the same organization, of course. Okay, thank you very much, T-Duck, for that. Let's go back to the screen that shows you we're on the Good Morning Portugal show this morning. Coming up soon, we've got Ian and Fabrizio who are previewing Lisbon Pride 2023. I don't think there's been a Lisbon Pride since 2019 because of COVID and so on. I think it is the first one since 2019, but they'll be able to tell me about that. And have I got time to squeeze in a quick video? I think I might. And then I can drink my tea, which will be lovely, and rest my vocal cords for just a moment, which is slightly stressed right now. Yeah, a couple of videos. Oh, James, they're only 17 seconds and 16 seconds, but that's long enough, I think, for a quick slurp of tea. Let's do it. Let's go to the first of yours, James. This has a crab in it. That's the font of San Sebastian. Now I'm drinking tea and I realize I might need to go to the toilet as well after that. Thank you very much, James. And your other video this morning is beautiful. Esta manhã a San Sebastian Ericeira. So you've been up and about early this morning, and we have a video of the coast. So there you were inland, and now we're going to go and have a look at the coast. San Sebastian in Ericeira right now, and I'll have another sip on my tea at the same time. And hopefully this won't inspire us to need to use the lavatory this morning in this particular one. Hold on a minute. Bear with, because that wasn't the one I was looking for. That was not the coast you are looking for. Burr, 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 burr. Here we go. It's taking its time. Oh, this might be a bit longer. The 17-second video is that from Victoria from Portimao this morning. And I'll save those for when Ali joins us, and we'll have a chat with Ali and show the pictures of the Algarve as well. Not sure why your video is taking so long to process. 36 seconds of delightful coastal view coming up right now, courtesy of James. How is the sun there? Was that this morning? That's confused me. That's very beautiful. And what was that noise at the beginning of the video? Is that the noise? Was that a human, or was that the noise the seagulls make in your part of the world as they swoop down and try and grab your sausage roll? I wonder. Let's bring them on without any further ado, because I think they're in a bit of a hurry this morning. Got a lot to squeeze in this morning. Let's give them a nice big round of applause and welcome from Lisbon, the capital, Ian and Fabrizio. Oh, I'm so sorry. You have a cockerel in your face. There we go. That's better. Good morning. You're muted. Stop it. Stop it and unmute yourselves. I can hear the giggling.
Oh, morning. Yeah, morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you this morning?
Oh, we're typically recovering from the cock in our face. Anyway.
Don't we all from time to time? And a nice David Bowie t-shirt, Fabrizio, I think.
Thank you very much.
Is that from the Let's Dance tour? I think it might be, right?
No, I think it's Hammersmith Odeon.
Perhaps one of the greatest venues. We were talking about 80s bands on Friday. Yeah. I was very lucky as a kid to grow up in a walkable distance from Hammersmith. I went to the Hammersmith Odeon, Hammersmith Palais. The Odeon is now the Apollo. Who have you seen at the Odeon / Apollo?
Me, nobody, but Ian's.
Good question.
Didn't you see the wall, the original wall?
No, that was it.
That was Pink Floyd's The Wall. You've seen that, have you?
Yeah. I went to the original. That's really sad, isn't it? Only because what's funny about it, I was in the sixth form. We actually went with teachers. The teachers.
Did you? What to have you singing? They don't need no education. Wow, that's a very progressive bit of teaching and irony going on right there.
It was funny in that school as well because we also had a Scottish headmaster, and there's the headmaster bit where he says, "Who's it now?"
Oh,
You,
yeah.
and it used to be like
Nice.
that when my fire used to break out of the playground. So there was kind of quite a bit of irony about the whole story, really. But
Yes, yeah, amazing. Okay, so seeing the wall, that's a hell of a production, isn't it? The wall, of course, and it was made with a stage set in mind, I suspect, wasn't it, from the get-go?
Yeah, nice.
Incredible. And you grew up in Birmingham, of course, not far from the two-tone phenomenon, I guess, down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah. How lucky to have that on your doorstep.
Yeah, plus of course there's all this Duran Duran and the rest of them all sort of coming from around that area. So
Duran Brummies.
Yeah.
Are they? I didn't realise that. Oh wow. Hence their excellent fashion sense.
Exactly. Actually, my stepfather went to school with Ozzy Osbourne.
Really?
That's his claim to fame.
Well, we can tell Ozzy's from Brum, can't we? Because he gives it away. But he's not lost his accent. He's been in Hollywood and LA, whatever, forever, hasn't he? He hasn't lost his
He's one of the few Brummies that's tried to keep it.
Yeah, and hasn't lost some of his Brummy ways either, you might say too. Good morning to you both. We're going to be previewing Lisbon Pride. Was I right in saying that it hasn't happened since 2019?
No, it did happen last year actually as well.
Oh, did it? Right, okay.
He scaled down to what he was. I can't think if the March happened though.
Yeah,
the March did happen. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I was wrong on
that. There's a week between them. So the March this year, I think, is the 17th, and then the main celebrations are a week after.
Oh, I see. So there's like a carnival sort of procession part, and then
which ends somewhere.
By the
Principal, yes, and then there's a Arraial, which is one of the main events, but that is a very big one because it's in Passo do Arco, and it's a very big event.
Excellent. All right, we'll come back to that. Let's have your property update then. So, I mean, we had Raquel on yesterday, and she was saying, I get this feeling things are bubbling in Portugal. Are you sharing that as well? Are you feeling that?
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's quite a lot of stuff coming on. I know there's a lot more stuff coming on the market actually, especially smaller ones, and they all look suspiciously like Airbnbs because they all seem to have a big sign on the wall saying, keep calm and do something or other. And I don't know why.
And a Buddha in the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's so funny. So you can tell an Airbnb when it comes onto the market because it's got live, love, and laugh.
Or something like that, exactly.
And there's a sign that say coffee by in the kitchen or something like that.
And a Buddha in the toilet.
And a Buddha in the toilet. It's the most unrespectful approach to Eastern cultures that could probably get, but nevertheless.
Oh well, okay. So there's so the Airbnbs are coming onto the market.
I think so because there's a lot of kind of smaller properties, around that sort of size. So certainly anybody who fancies and wants to look for somewhere as a starter home, I guess that's a good option as well. But I mean, so property prices are keeping up. Obviously, the rentals are the worst ones because people are looking for stuff, but they're expensive. So
Yeah.
Sorry, you have to tell me if I'm not talking too loud because I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment. So I'm not sure whether I'm shouting or not.
No, there's definitely something going around, isn't there? We thought it's this summer, yay, all nice and healthy and everything, but people got stomach bugs and sore throats and all sorts going on at the moment. So we can hear you loud and clear. Airbnb signs, life happens, coffee helps. That's a classic Airbnb kitchen sign, isn't it? That's super. And also in an Airbnb, you open a drawer and there are 27 different types of coffee cartridge in there, aren't they? All the ones that people bought that didn't fit the actual coffee machine in the apartment.
No, they're left behind.
Yes. Coffee roulette.
And you usually realize the next morning when you go to make a coffee, you find nothing fits.
Exactly. And you all the neighbors are like, no, I don't want your coffee filters that don't fit. Everyone comes here and does that. I mean, one day we're going to get singularity. Never mind about AI singularity. The moment of coffee cartridge singularity will be a really wonderful thing for humanity and the environment, I suspect. But sorry, digressing again. But I think this is
I think it's a great idea. I think it should be done by everybody who walks into a Airbnb with coffee cartridge. It should be a huge paper mache of, I don't know.
There's advanced level, isn't there? There are no doubt videos of coffee cartridge hacks. So you can get the corkscrew if you're lucky enough to have a corkscrew in your Airbnb, because the last person might have stolen that, of course.
Yeah, they nick it. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can pierce a hole into it, put it in the microwave for 10 seconds, turn a cup over onto it, bring the whole thing out, spin it back over, top it up.
And then it turned into an origami swan or something like that.
Yes, that is and they can do it. It's funny, it never turns out like that at home. On the Instagram video, it's perfect, isn't it? Beautiful Instagram swan, cup of coffee, someone going, delicious. But then you try it at home and it doesn't ever quite work out like that.
Flames coming out the back of the microwave. Yeah, it's like,
yes. I think T-Duck was talking about a great hack. If you're in an Airbnb and you want to reheat your pizza, just put the toaster on its side. Visualizing that.
Oh, that's a small pizza
Slice in there. I mean, to add insult to injury, I'm sure for as an Italian that will be quite difficult. It's not really pizza.
It's not that kosher, but it's fine. I mean
it's not that kosher. Okay.
Yeah, but as a good pizza could be eaten cold out of the,
Okay, good point. So you shouldn't have to reheat decent pizza. So if you have got one of those indistinguishable messes of pink and yellow on a piece of cardboard,
the error was right at the beginning of the purchase point.
You should have chosen more wisely at purchase point. Okay. Professionals apparently take their own coffee machine and capsules with them. Bobby O'Reilly, good morning to you. That's a professional Airbnb user, isn't it? And maybe a kettle as well, because there's not always a kettle. Everyone needs to know that. Not always a kettle, just a coffee machine with the wrong capsules here at a Portuguese.
I bring my own mocha machine when I know that there's a fire. So. That's
Yes. Bit like Ozzy Osbourne. You can take the Brummie out of Brum, but you can't take Brum out of the Brummie. You cannot take your mocha machine out of the Italian gentleman. Take it everywhere.
No, you can't.
That shows up on an X-ray machine very nicely as well, doesn't it? The shape.
It does. It's a classic design classic.
It is. It really is a thing of beauty for sure. Okay, I think this is a theme we may well return to this morning. Classic Airbnb things, but glad to hear things are going well for you as buyers agents representing people in the Lisbon area. Success.
Yeah,
good. Okay, glad to hear it. Well, let's move on to Pride then. Celebrating Pride 2023. Arraial, is that the area of Lisbon where everything is taking place?
Arraial is what is the street parties.
Yeah,
they're called arraials.
Yeah.
All right.
And
okay,
that's because that's it exactly. Because I think I probably sent you another link as well, because the other part of this is, of course, June in general in Lisbon is one street party after another. So
yes.
If you look at that, I think if you look at that link, actually gives all the different parties. So obviously Lisbon Pride is just one of them, but I think there's probably about 20 in total. Around the place.
And they are, they're originally a religious occasion for the local saint, but they're quite sinful as well. So if anybody's interested,
the sinful as well. Okay, brilliant. Let's find out more about that.
Exactly. So now we just go for the sin bit. Really, we don't go.
Just this is the season we're going into now, isn't it? Where you're never far away from the aroma.
Hang on.
They went to the wrong. No, it's fine. Some Lisbon atmosphere is great.
Exactly.
I thought they were coming to my house because I hadn't paid my road tax.
It's just the police. They found me.
Hang on. Keep your voice down. All right. No, they can't do this to you live on air.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I am copying that fantastic link that you sent me. Absolutely. The Festas dos Santos Populares is Santos Populares, the popular saints time of year, where of course the characteristic aromas of sardines, of manjerico, of basil are going to be in the air. This is fantastic. So, you presumably you pick and choose the ones you want to go to. Clearly, you'll be going to Pride this year. But what are your other favourites then?
We actually
you just wander about. You don't actually know what it is, and you just wander into whatever's going on.
That's it. Yeah. Because we're
surrounded, because we've gone to Beaker's quite nice, which is down by almost Santos.
Yes, that's very good. Is the one, the San Vicente, which is here in Grassa.
Yeah.
Because the area is very pretty, because it seems to be quite big and goes on all day.
We have to mention Benfica, because last time our friend Lucinda said, you didn't mention Benfica when you're talking about them. So Benfica is a really, really good one. So if you're listening, Lucinda.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations, of course, Benfica.
Yeah.
Bobby sent us the amazing footage of celebrations in the stadium, which you could, presumably last week, you could hear the celebrations in and out of the stadium right across Lisbon.
We could, yes, actually. In fact, we had friends here, so we were we caught the bus. I was thinking we could get the bus before the match finished to try and get to the other side of Lisbon, but unfortunately we got stopped halfway, so we had to almost walk through the centre of it.
Oh wow!
We were kind of there for the early. It was before the match had finished, but obviously everybody was already there because they knew they'd won anyway. But
and our friend is Japanese, so there was a very good welcome to her to festivities in Portugal. Yeah.
Talking of Japan, we haven't spoken, have we, since you came back from Japan?
We haven't spoken about. I think we were already back last time. Yeah, but
I see. Right. Yeah, but you have visited Japan, and you sent some beautiful photos. And what did your Japanese visitor make then of the football celebrations? And
she does live in London.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she said a bit like that.
So she's kind of,
she's seen football before.
Yeah, she's streetwise. Yeah.
Although it was quite funny because as we were walking there, obviously because all the bars and everybody was outside, because people, wherever you went in the bar, people were there watching the game. And she said, "Oh, it's very much like baseball in Japan, as well, because everybody goes celebrate." Until we got close to knocking the bomb bell, and she said, "It's not quite like
quite like baseball in Japan, is it?" So they were pretty celebratory, were they? They were fine spirits.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Okay. I just arrived, says Darren, in the UK, and it's York Pride on the same day I'm there. You bring that back in, and my kids just run in. He's grabbed my phone, run out. I need that. All right, okay. All right. Where were we? We were celebrating with Benfica. We had a Japanese friend having a look around Lisbon when we caught up in the celebrations there, and we are now headed, are we not, to Lisbon Pride. Yes, 2023. And really, for some of us, a beginner's guide. I don't think I've been to a Pride event. I'd have probably remembered if I had, right?
Well, yeah, probably would have done.
Yes, it would have stayed in the mind. So, what can I expect if I come to Lisbon on what dates are we looking at? Areal Lisboa Pride is the largest.
Day's over.
Oh, what's that? Who was that? Was that you or me? Oh, that's my kid on my Bluetooth coming in with a game.
So cool. This is so cool. What was that?
Great, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
You've been hacked.
I'll see what I can do to hold this all together. It's been an interesting one so far. Okay, Areal Lisboa Pride is the largest LGBTI plus, and I need to ask you about that as well, community and association event in Portugal. And since 1997 has brought visibility to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and intersex population in a political moment of celebration of pride inequality taking place in Lisbon's main city square. As in Praça do Comércio, it is the largest, the most participated, and the most colourful party in Lisbon. 75,000 visitors in the 2019 edition. That's why I thought that was the last one. Free to enter. It is a party for the whole city and also for the whole world. So the emphasis on inclusivity, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Everyone is welcome to this.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. And it's a quite random event in terms of attendance. There will be a lot of kids, there will be a lot of families, a lot of oldies, a lot of youngers, a bit of everything. So it's quite a street event. It's part of what is very nice, that even having a very strong, obviously LGBT team, it will be just one of the street events and happens to be one of the biggest ones. So nobody will be keen to stay at home or eat or drink at home, but it would rather be out on the street.
Exactly.
Yeah, and have cheap food and dance. So it will be, for that reason, it's quite beautiful.
And so a carnival atmosphere.
And there's a stage, and obviously there's live music.
So that's what you will expect. A lot of good weather, because usually June is quite spectacular in Lisbon. A lot of music. There will be performers as the performers. There will be food stalls. There will be drink stalls. There will be people selling merchandising.
Some of the clubs and bars, obviously, have their own little, versions of that there as well. So, it's a good chance as well for anybody who's visiting just to know where the places are, because you can
because there will be
a bit more information there. Exactly.
Right, and 75,000 visitors. This is tourism as well. In the same way, then, that people like to run different marathons around the world, would people from the LGBTI plus community fly around the world and sort of have a top trumps? Like we went to Pride in this country.
I'm sure that people do. Yeah.
We often stumble across it more.
We stumble a few of them. We never went. Intentionally, we stumbled about the Tokyo Pride when we were in Tokyo lately, and but no, we've never been intentionally
following them around. They all seem to happen though in June, so it's obviously
okay. So you have to pick and choose. It's not you couldn't fly from one city to another for the rest of the year.
No, I think so exactly. Okay, so and then the other part of this, of course, is the week before, which is the March. So the March has got a lot of floats, and a lot of people on it, and various different things going on there as well. So there's the two separate events, and then within that week, various clubs. Actually, there's not too much. I was hoping that page would have been updated, but I think they're just finally updating it soon. But I think that will contain a bit more information about what's going on in the week, because there's obviously various events going on between the two main.
Such as what else? What else is going on?
Well, some of the bars and clubs will have different nights on. I think before there's a few bits of cinema that went around and that kind of thing. So there'll be other bits that are going on related to that. But I was not.
I cannot answer what will be happening now. But I will probably keep checking what's the single event of each establishment, because they will organize outdoor cinemas or stuff like that.
Anna, the Swede in Portugal. I've been to several Pride festivals in Stockholm. They're so nice, and lots of laughter, dancing, and partying. I think that sums up the essence, doesn't it, of Pride? And I did sort of phrase it as a kind of, or frame it as a beginner's guide. Often, when people don't understand a culture, that's where the problems begin, isn't it? And this is a perfect awareness-raising, all-encompassing event, right? Where if you want to learn more about LGBTI plus culture, this will be a great event to go to overcome your anything you don't understand, your misunderstandings, prejudices, even. Talk to us about that, about how accessible it is for somebody who doesn't understand anything about the culture. They're faced with a carnival atmosphere. I want to learn more. What's the best way in to learn and understand about the culture?
Well, I will say that the Pride is usually a two-sided event. I will say there will be the march, which is actually rather important in my opinion, and starts to become more and more important with all the restrictions that, rather than going ahead in freedom internationally for LGBTQI individuals, we're actually stepping back into a lot of restrictions and a lot of limited freedom. So there's a march, which is a political act of existence. So you will say, yes, I do exist, and I do want fair opportunity. My family is like any other family, and people will be joyous, but then at the same time will be a quite political act. That's sort of.
Although just saying that, the march is interesting because kind of going past you, I guess, is all the different things that you might see. So the different, the different parts of that community all showing where they are. It's gone right from just being the float with people dancing on it, to the float with drag queens on it, to probably families with families with their children or whatever.
And then
supporting that kind of thing, you know, to show
police officers or doctors or that there will be
Anglican bishops as well. In Atlanta, the Anglican bishop is always part of the parade with his crook and mitre.
In Atlanta, the Anglican bishop is always part of the thing. Well,
I don't know if I've ever seen it, but it's very possible.
I'm sure it's there in some kind of disguise.
Yeah, I mean, certainly some of the other prides I've been to, you will see, you know, there's the religious side to it as well. There are many people saying, you know, well, you know, our religion supports it, and even if it's Catholicism or whatever else, we still support. You know, we aren't having issues against that. So you know,
And then there's the other side, which will be the party atmosphere with there, which it will be present also in the march. It's not absent from there, but there will be the big celebration, which happens usually in every city in the world, even at the end. Usually it's at the end of the parade here that two separate events. So you have one smaller one and a larger one. And that is just to, I guess, to get there and just get pissed.
Just enjoy yourself.
Is that really what it's about? It's a party.
Mostly.
Okay, no, I get it, and so that is important, isn't it? You know, to be able to say I exist as a human being is a pretty fundamental matter, isn't it? And I think, you know, so that's the community itself saying we exist, here we are, and it is a chance for anyone who wants to understand more to have this focal point each year and of culture, and presumably there's loads of fringe events as well, film festivals, nights in sort of cultural events that are going on as part of the fringe of it. So I think it's very useful to increase understanding. And of course, at the moment, as you say, as the community, and this is, I mean, everyone pauses now, don't they, when they're about to say this, because there seem to be more and more niches of the group, the Pride group, if you like, adding to. I mean, are we keeping up here with who's included? Or is that not the point? Is the point that it doesn't really matter about all the labels? The point is about celebrating diversity and increasing understanding.
And I think that's the main one.
I think that's the main one, and the fact that I guess, we can we can all be covered by the umbrella of queer in a way, because queer will cover everything. It does have a very, also is a good word to claim back and to use in a positive, quite open concept. When it was started as or it could be interpreted as an offense.
Reclaiming the insulting.
Reclaim the word.
But then the other side of it, I guess, is just to be on show. Because you know, there is a part of it which says for many years, you know, many people in these communities were hidden away. You know, you didn't want to show yourself. You didn't want to be seen because of the threat to you. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the other side of it, is saying that more and more of these groups now can come to that and say, well, this is what I am, and this is what I look like or act like, or, you know what I mean? So, I suppose there's a bit of that kind of seeing it in the reality of it without having to hide around and say, you know, as many years ago, I'm a gay man and I didn't want to show to anybody, and I was kind of in the shadows and I don't want anybody to find out about it. So, I think I think the diversity thing is the important one, because you're not then for saying, oh, you're going to be excluded because of this. You're really saying, well, come show yourself and let's see what you are, what your concept of that is about, really.
Labels have their limits for sure, don't they? No question. And to me, with all these sort of issues affecting humanity, it's the important thing is to talk, isn't it? And to have the conversation about it rather than the argument over, you know, this is what it is. No, this is what it is. The conversation about what it is, I think, is perhaps the most illuminating and enlightening and bonding part of it. Is if you feel uncomfortable, if anyone feels uncomfortable in this mix, presumably the best thing to do is to talk about it and engage and have a conversation and celebrate as that, and that's what's going to be happening at the Lisbon Pride and other Pride events around the world, rather than sort of backing away. Because you don't understand what's going on, and you feel like you can't talk about it. That to me is not a good place to be.
I think you're actually very, very right, and because there are a lot of the adversity comes from the ignorance, not the ignorance of not knowing something, but also the ignorance, the ignoring the existence of something. And I guess, yes, as you can say, yes, it's probably a very good occasion to have a very one snapshot on all the reality and see that it's true. The gay men will have a very different life from straight heterosexual, but then probably that you find that there will be a couple of 2 men and 2 women with their kids, and their kids is as impossible as yours. And they're having a terrible day trying to make
Yes.
So
their kids running back in the back of the Zoom call. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, I mean, that's the great thing. I think the sort of the top level benefit of the event is visibility, discussion, and understanding of people's cultures. I think is really important. And yeah, you know, Lord Gilchrist is in danger of filling up our entire comment box with the latest with the latest classifications here. Darren's old school, however, I just say LGBT. That's very 1995, I would say, isn't it? And I think it's cool that different cities celebrate Pride on different days of months. One wanting to celebrate can travel around, so you can. Sue's has some information on that, even though it was created for the anniversary of the Stonewall riot. So these are the roots, are they? The Stonewall riot in New York City.
Yeah, that's right.
First Pride event. Okay, didn't know that. People's personal preferences, not my business. If someone chooses to inform me of their lifestyle, then that is fine. I have a straight acting gay male friends. When I first met, I had no clue. It says Portuguese. I support
which is a connotation, but it's not a merit.
The family unit is the most important thing, says Portuguese there, and I don't think of sexuality as a lifestyle. Strikes me as offensive. And that's due to his poor memory. That's he can't remember all the letters. That's why he says LGBT. Thank you for fessing up to that, Dan. Well, thank you for the window into the world of Pride. When does it begin? Is it next weekend?
So March is the 17th, I believe, and then I think what's that? 24th. So 24th is the 4 o'clock is the actual Ariel in.
It probably will be 4 o'clock.
I think 4 p.m.
to 4 a.m.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
I'll be in bed by.
Oh look, Steve, he'll be in bed by then. Okay, Ciao Gubbers, off to explore Lisbon. Great show, great guest. Thanks, Carl. Steve in Lisbon, that's fantastic news. And Ali's getting ready. Can you give us just a couple more minutes as we extend then from Pride into the incredible
of course
that's going on. We've got the wonderful link that you sent to us, which is this Festas dos Santos Populares in 1923. Together the best parties. So let's have a quick scroll through them before you have to leave this morning. Some brilliant Lisboeta street art there, Fado band, and somebody singing from the balcony there. I mean, I'm just scrolling through these. Are some big stars, aren't they? Of course, in Portuguese culture, King Barreiros, big singer here. Ana Maloa is here as well. And just you scroll through, and it's event after event, basically.
And I was confused, but there is a more button at some point, which is quite discreet. So if you run out of days at some point,
but a great time clearly to be in Lisbon this coming month. Yeah. And this is it now, isn't it? I mean, Santos Populares is one part of the year of partying, but really, are you now girding your loins through to probably sleeping again in September, October time?
Yeah, because I mean, you go these, and then you're right. There's a lot more summer festivals as well. So July starts to kick off the festival season, and not just the big ones that you hear about, but there's a lot of smaller ones as well going on in various different locations. So definitely throughout Portugal, keep your eyes open for those. They're not always easy to find, but if you spot anything.
But the music festival that will start now, some of them are on the beach. There's so many to mention, but. Some of them will be very, very good in very good locations. Our calendar ends somewhere the second week of September now, and we're going to see Björk in
September.
In September, that will be the end of our, that will be the beginning of autumn for us.
Incredible. And as well as Lisbon, Portugal generally. Being a great place to come for Pride. I mean, this is an unsung part of Portuguese tourism, I think. Could be marketed around the world as the most incredible party country, couldn't it? You know, certainly at this time of year and throughout the whole summer. I don't know why Portugal isn't celebrated around the world as like a non-stop party from spring through to autumn. It so could be.
Yeah. And it's a very polite one too, in a way, you know, because people get rowdy and they're loud and in the street and you know, they have a drink, they have 2 or 5. But there's what it lacks from many other events, party-related outdoor drinking environment, and I don't name countries, but I'd just say phenomenon abroad and outside from this country. There's a very peaceful approach.
Yeah, right.
There's a rowdy, loud, but peaceful, serene approach to be on the street with fellow human beings.
Yes.
Or non-human beings. You know, because people go down with their dogs and stuff. So yeah.
I wondered what he meant there. Like alien species moving among us.
Yeah. Molds and. Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. You know, the people do know how to party in Portugal, and go to work as well the next day, and party in a really respectful way as well. Not like, you know, it's noisy for sure, and it's kind of antisocial in some ways because music's playing till 3 or 4 in the morning. But it lacks that edginess, doesn't it? That you sometimes with party.
And you say it's still family orientated. I mean, it's probably influenced by the fact Portuguese children never seem to sleep until they're midnight, even when they're like 3 years old. So,
yeah, right. Yeah.
I think that helps because at least, you know, people are there as families rather than just, you know, that sort of.
But you don't have this feeling that it's just about to kick off. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, like England, like UK. That's what we.
I didn't want to say that. That's why I don't mention countries.
I can say that.
But you did, so you're allowed. I'm not.
Yes. Cool. We all knew what you were thinking. Okay. Well, Ali's here, and I know you've got to go. You got to go. Important business to attend to, but it'd be lovely if we could just be on the screen for a moment.
Hey, Ali.
Hello. Hi. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yes.
Great.
Here to celebrate the new edition of Snapshot, the June edition, and maybe talk a bit more about Airbnbs. There are 1 or 2 of them in the Algarve, and the coffee cartridges and how to make sure you buy the right one when you're at your Airbnb. Ian and Fabrizio, thank you so much. Have a great Pride this year. Enjoy your day today. Do appreciate you squeezing us in this morning. I know you're busy.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Okay. All right. All the best to you. So you get another nice big round of applause.
Bye, Ali.
Take care. Bye for now. Now, I wondered if I did the right thing there because I was like, I want everybody to be on the screen at the same time. Get everyone on the screen at the same time, and then get rid of people. Slightly awkward. None meant there, Ian and Fabrizio. But I think you got 1 or 2 things to do today. Ali, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, very well this morning. Our a kid running to the back of the shot here, taken my phone, started playing games on the phone. It was coming out on the Bluetooth on the show. All that kind of stuff to contend with. Actually, I think it's better this way round, so you don't have the cockerel obscuring the view of you. So, what have you been up to in this last month? It's the temperature, the weather's got better, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely here now. It's my favourite time of year, really, that May, June time before it gets hot summer heat. It's a really nice temperature. It's a lovely early morning walk beside the river every morning. It's just literally catching. There's mist sometimes really early when we walk, which is just beautiful to watch because you've got Algarve, the castle's on the top of the hill, and you've got the village below it. And what you end up with quite often is this mist that sits just below the castle and completely obscures the whole village at the start of the walk. And by the time you get to the other end of the river walk, the village is just starting to peep its way through. It's lovely. It's really pretty. And all I can hear are birds singing normally in the morning. It's beautiful.
That does sound great. And you're a visual couple, aren't you, you and Dave? So that must be
very much.
You artists, photographers, and publishers of Snapshot magazine. So let's have a look at the new edition. Do you call it an edition version?
I think so, yeah. Well, remember, it's just a little newsletter, but it's 116 pages this month, so I'm really not sure I can call it a newsletter for much longer. But
I don't think so. Whatever, newsletter, come on. It's So, but I was, as a magazine publisher myself back in the day, I'm never sure whether to call it an edition, an issue, or whatever. But anyway, here it is.
I tend to use edition. It just seems to, it doesn't really matter. But
And you have a very striking cover, don't you? What's
no,
who
it's
is
great,
this?
isn't it? Dave found it in Lagos. It's just some graffiti on the wall, but we have some. I'm never a big fan of graffiti, tagging and that sort of thing. But when it actually comes to some of the artwork that's around here, there's some amazingly talented artists. It's spray can paint, and it's just incredible how much emotion they can put into something like that. I mean, look at that face. It's fabulous, isn't it?
It is extraordinary. How big is that?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Dave. I wasn't there. So I think it's on the side of a wall. So it's probably about 1.5 meters, something like that.
Superb. Okay. And here are some of those vistas that you're lucky enough to wander in, hearing the birds singing and the waves crashing against the beach. We've also got some lovely pictures and a bit of video from Victoria this morning from Portimao. So we're right down in the Algarve now, celebrating the Algarve.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And that top right picture, that's Monte Clarigo. That's our closest beach. Isn't that beautiful in the sunset?
For me, that has the right mix of wildness and civilization. Civilization in the distance, and a little bit of space to contemplate and recuperate from civilization right there in the foreground. Looks beautiful. So is that the beach you most regularly go to?
That's our closest beach. That's Dave's, and then we've got Amarera as well, which is another beach that's the other side of Algarve. So those are the two closest beaches. But what's stunning, isn't it? I mean, look. There's nobody on the beach. I mean, I find it amazing that even in the middle of summer, if you know where to go, down one of those tiny, not one of those paths where Dave wrecked the car, remember?
Oh, yes.
We're not going there again. But there are so many beautiful tucked away little beaches that the locals know about, and the tourists don't tend to stray that far. So you can still get an empty beach. Beautiful, isn't it?
We are very, very lucky, I think. Yesterday, ahead of the meetup, which was lovely yesterday, great fun at the San Martino de Porto Silver Coast meetup. I sent out a message to everyone alerting them. Actually, Senora Pato gave us a weather report and told us that frango no forno was the dish of the day, which is very nice. And I sent a picture of New Jersey beach from, I think, maybe many decades ago as a joke to say it might be busy, which people, I think some people noticed. There was a tall ship in the distance, so it couldn't have possibly been this time. And there were women in hooped skirts, but with parasols as well. So it clearly couldn't have been this time, but it also wouldn't be a Portuguese beach, because this was the reality for us yesterday.
Beautiful.
I mean, isn't it incredible? All of this beach frontage, this Atlantic beach frontage in Portugal, and here, the last day of May, you got it to yourself. I mean, that is enviable, isn't it? Around the world, a beach in England on a slightly sunny day. You can't move, can you? You can't move.
You can't see the sand, can you? For the umbrellas and the people lying side by side in little.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. So that was San Martino de Porto yesterday, and here are the beautiful beaches of the Algarve that are so beautifully photographed by Dave as well here. And I love going to the beach and just sitting and watching the sunset by myself. Who is this antisocial person, Taishia Adams? Here that you're quoting, is that somebody who's? I'm only kidding, by the way. It is very.
I don't know who it is. I just like the quote because there is something wonderful about catching a sunset all by yourself, isn't it? It's just you just time stops for me when I watch a sunset. It's a wonderful moment. There's quite a lot of local people and travellers that will actually go up, particularly on Monte Clarigo, that top right picture, just behind there on the cliff top. You'll actually see lots of people just sat very quietly, waiting for the sunset. Some of them clap. Certainly at Sagres, most people Sagres, they go and watch Sagres for the sunset. You will actually see people clapping as the sun disappears. I'm never quite sure why, but they do.
That's very nice. Are they the same people who clap when the airplane lands, do you think?
Probably, yes.
They just like clapping.
It always makes me laugh. Yeah.
Are they the same people who clap when somebody drops a plate in a restaurant? Are these the same clappers?
I'm going to grass him up now. Yesterday, Dave came in the office with a pint glass of water and dropped the whole lot on the floor.
This is turning into a feature.
I didn't clap. I assure you of that.
Is it one of those pint glasses that just smashes into millions of pieces?
Yeah, that'll be the ones. Yeah, and go all over the office floor. It took, bless him, about 2.5 hours to clear it all up. It was.
Okay, thank you. what Dave did next. Last month it was getting the car stuck on the beach. This week, dropping a pint full of water, by the sound of it, over the office floor.
He'll kill me for telling you, by the way.
Love to Dave when you see him after the show. Right,
Yeah.
living in the Algarve. Is this an event coming up for people who might want to consider this? Portugal is bubbling. I mean, more and more of these events, right, are helping people decide if they want to move to Portugal. Who's behind this one?
This one's the Portugal Resident, the Open Media Group. It's a really good one. Yeah, I did my first one with them a month ago, and this one's now June, and it will be in Lagos. So they run about 4 a year, and they're completely free. You just need to sign up in advance to sort of subscribe, if you like, for a seat. But you get a whole program of speakers. So you'll get people that talk about insurance, talking about buying property, visas, relocating, everything that you'd need to know, health, education. There's usually a school that's there as well. So it's a really good forum. You get about 10 or 15 minutes per speaker. So it's just a morning, but you've got time before and after to actually meet the speakers, grab some material, grab some leaflets. But it's a really well put together program. I was delighted to be asked. So I'm their kind of expat in the Algarve. What's it like to actually live here kind of speaker. So
you're that one. I was going to ask you what it is you do. So okay, and you have been in the Algarve for quite a while, so you can speak with some authority on that, aren't you? And immersed as you are in local culture too.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's nice to talk about is because we set up our own small businesses. I think a lot of people are quite daunted about moving here. What are we going to do all day? We don't want to just sit in a cafe and eat and drink. Can we actually work here? There are a lot of visas now that need to be negotiated, of course, but it is still something we love. We took our hobbies really and turned them into little kind of careers. So you can do that, and it's nice to be able to talk on quite a small scale about how you can do that and enjoy a simpler, quieter way of life, really. So that's my kind of spiel when I get there.
And you say the Portugal Resident are behind this one?
Yeah, the Open Media Group. Yeah, that's
great. I think the publisher of that, you may or may not be aware. Oh, got a little bit of an echo there. We wrote an April Fool about the Golden Visa. Which had a mixed reception, as you might imagine, as a political hot potato as it is. We came up with this platinum visa, and they printed it in the Portugal Resident on April the 1st. And I wrote a little bit of an apology to the publisher, saying, "I hope it didn't get you into any trouble." And he said, "No, I loved it." And apparently, he's got a sense of humour, isn't he? The man behind the Portugal Resident.
Well, yeah, because you'll flick through the pages. He's actually our guest featured. We interviewed him this month, so that's Bruce. Yeah, and I scrolled through and couldn't. I'm really, really excited that we managed to get him sat down and interviewed, because the more you try and look for the guy on Google and things, there's not much about him. So it was really nice to find, a little bit about the man behind the front of the paper, if you like. So
that might be a press baron kind of thing, right? They love talking about other people's business in the newspaper, but their own, they're quite.
Yeah. So it was really good. So I think I've put, because I obviously take little snippets from the main kind of snapshot for you guys and put a little bit together. So. That's what you show. So no, it's fine.
And one of your paintings there, the old boat at Ferragudo there.
Yeah, there's a bit of a story behind that. The photo you can see was actually 2004, and it was one of the first times we actually ever visited the Algarve. And it's whenever I talk about moving here, that's the story I always tell. There's a moment when you drive around the bend Ferragudo and the whole harbour comes out, in front of you. With this stunning view of the church and everything. And this was one of the first photographs we took. And that I love the boat because it's like we watched it disintegrate over the next sort of 10, 12 years into little pieces of driftwood. Literally, yeah. But this was what it was still, in pristine, prime, Portuguese condition for a boat there when we first, literally almost 20 years ago now. So.
And you saw it become a doer-upper, and now just a dilapidated wreck.
It's gone, yeah. I don't think there's even any driftwood left now. No.
That's incredible. Yeah. So a very meaningful vessel there for you, way back in 2004. And the doors that we saw on that page 5 as well are painted here by you very beautifully too. Number 41 and 43. Do we know who lives there?
No, they're in Lagos, so I'd be quite tempted to knock on the door one day and just show them the photos and see what they think. But
imagine if they're watching this morning, it's like, hold on a minute, those are our doors.
Well, I'm waiting for somebody to. I'm doing an art expo in September, so they'll be for sale there. So who knows? Maybe I'll try and find out who they are before then and get them there for a little photo shoot. That would be cool.
They
wouldn't
are
it?
the obvious buyers of these photographs as well, aren't they? A bit
Yeah,
like
I love those old doors. I remember you said you liked one last year, so I thought, right, I'll slot those in for you this month because I
I do.
managed 3 paintings in a month. I'm not quite sure how, but they were great fun to paint. Yeah.
Well, and then this is a beautiful combo with all the detailing on the doors there. There's, the mitered inserts in the door, the big brass door handle, which is in the middle of the door, which is quite a traditional thing to do, as well as the handles and the other door furniture. And then sometimes the glazed part of this door will open, and that's why you've got the grill on the front there. It's almost like confession, talking to the homeowner through the grill. So I don't know if these have that facility, but it's a lovely thing in Portugal where you have the opening window inside the door, and then obviously the security grill as well. Beautiful, lovely work.
Thank you.
Is this the
There
Bruce?
he is. This is the man. This is Bruce Hawker. Yeah.
So what do you remember about talking to him then? What's the lowdown?
Oh, it was fascinating because he's really into scuba diving, which I had no idea. So if you get it, there's a good picture of him. His wife, so he met his wife Zoe literally at school. He's been out here since he was, I think, about 11 or 12 years old with his family. And he met his wife literally at secondary school here. So they've been together ever since. But they do lots of scuba diving, both here and abroad, which was really interesting. So it's
very interesting. So both the proprietors of the English language newspapers grew up in Portugal, I think, because Paul, I can't remember his second name. He's also a long-standing inhabitant.
Absolutely, and they started quite similar times, both of them as well. So it was, but he is so fluent in Portuguese, it's embarrassing. But I didn't realise that the whole company, they see it as a Portuguese company. So in the offices, they speak Portuguese. Most of their emails, even if they start off in English, will end up in Portuguese because all the staff, if they're not, they're fluent in at least 2 languages. So, but yeah, there's a great story in there as well that Zoe went to actually get her citizenship. He'd already got his, and they found out that because they were married in Gibraltar, they never got their wedding authorised, if you like, in Portugal. So he's got to sort all his paperwork out. So he dropped down on one knee in the middle of the office and proposed to her again. So I thought that's great. So,
yes. It also lends itself to a movie, doesn't it? These two the English language press barons who grew up in Portugal started papers around the same time. They've got these rival papers. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Bruce sees it as a rival. I think they see themselves, because Open Media, because they do all of their magazines, they do all the Inside and the Essential magazines as well. So I think they don't see themselves in competition. They see that they obviously can run together and obviously have different papers. Because obviously the Resident does Portuguese, the Bolavento as well. And they do a French Viva la Portugal as well. So they've actually got a whole raft of, it's a lot. It's a big company. They do a lot of different publications. So it's
interesting.
I don't know how they do it. I put Snapshot together every month, and I love doing it. But the thought of actually, doing something that goes out weekly, or it's like a newspaper. Wow.
So they've got stacks of publications, and there's all sorts with the Open Media Group there that people might not like to know about. I'm looking forward. I mean, they do have an Algarve focus, both the Portugal News and the Portugal Resident, don't they? And that's, I mean, obviously a reflection of their history and where they began. And you can buy the Portugal News all over Portugal. But I'm looking forward to the next either local paper. Maybe there will be a Silver Coast English language paper, or maybe there'll be a national paper at some point. I don't know. Maybe newspapers are not the thing to get into right now. Perhaps not. We're sorry to hear that Darren is in the UK at the moment. 100, not happy about it either. 150 for the hotel in Manchester at the moment. My goodness, yeah. Okay, well, keep your chin up there, Darren, and I'm sure you're looking forward to being back in Porto at the moment. Let's have a look at the latest issue of Snapshot here. It's creative with us, Alyson Sheldrake. And here we go. Give a dog a home. An important issue, of course, an ongoing issue here in Portugal, something a lot of expats get involved in cat and dog welfare and rehoming and so on. And we're meeting Nero here, are we?
Yeah, isn't he beautiful? It's such a sad story. He's 9 years old, and the owners just handed him over to the kennel. They said they no longer wanted him at 9 years old. Bless him, and he's adorable. Isn't that face gorgeous? He's
Well, he's
a
got
really
some
sweet boy.
Dalmatian sort of. Is that
He's a
English?
pointer, they think, but yeah, there's definitely a cross up there. I would have thought, but what an elegant-looking dog! He's lovely, isn't he? But 9 years old to suddenly lose his home and be put in a kennel is just as awful, isn't it? It's
Wonderful.
shouldn't be.
And there's your Zara as well. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? 9 years of age. That is. These aren't the most attractive dogs in the kind of market, as it were. And it's not. I know it's not a market, and it's not the right word to use, but people do probably want younger dogs, don't they? Although he would have his benefits as a 9-year-old, wouldn't he? Because he's house trained and settled
Yeah,
down.
exactly. There's a lot of benefit, and particularly he'll slow down a little bit, so he probably won't need to walk quite as far every day. He will probably be delighted to have a sofa to snooze on, food in a bowl, some water, and a little walk around the block a couple of times a day. And
That's all I need. Frankly, that is right. Okay, he's a wise fella, old Nader there. Lovely. So there's the Give a Dog a Home feature, and oh yes,
I know.
Yes,
don't they look amazing?
They do.
So nice.
Ali, is that coriander on there though?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, my dog is barking. Sorry. Hang on.
That's got my dog's barking as well outside. Jimmy, Peggy, be quiet. It's only on the telly.
Yeah, she's still very nervous when he hears anything. Come here. Come and be live on the telly for a minute. There you go. Have a biscuit. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That started us. You hear Jimmy? He's barking.
Hello. Can you see? Hey, hang on. I'll try and put the camera. There she is. Here's our monkey. There you go.
Don't worry, Sarah, it's fine.
I heard somebody outside. I needed to tell my mummy.
All right, very good work. Good dog. Stand down. Brilliant.
Yeah, stand down. Yeah, she's getting better at standing down quicker. Thank goodness. Yeah, our dear friends, Relish Portugal, Ivan, every month, bless her, sends us an amazing recipe. But yes, that is coriander, and no, I won't be cooking with that.
I remember. You're one of those people, aren't you, for whom it occurs as soup.
You remembered. I can't stand it. Comida de Diablo. I hate it.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Okay. So you can put some parsley on there, presumably, rather than the coriander in that dish. But that's some simple pan-fried camarão there, I think.
It is. Yeah, with garlic and chilies. Absolutely gorgeous.
Sit down at any Portuguese seafood restaurant and you're sure to find a dish fragrant with chilies, garlic and prawns.
Wonderful.
Starter. Increase the number of prawns for a dynamite main. It's popular throughout the country, but good news for Casa Cozinha enthusiasts. This fresh and bold recipe is easy to prepare at home. Its simple ingredients and preparation make it satisfying and impressive. Certainly, that looks great. I could just sit and look at that for a little while, but we need to move on. And telling the time. Is this your practice Portuguese note of the month as well?
Aren't the guys ruined, Joel? They're brilliant, aren't they? They give me access to the site, and we've done it's actually quite complicated telling the time in Portugal, because I can tell you a quick story. I had a lady the other morning wanted to know what time the bus to Lagos left outside the market, and I was sat there having a drink with the young lady sat beside me here, muffing away, and I asked the Portuguese people behind me, and I thought they told me 8:15, because I heard the words quarter and I heard the word 8.
Yes. And
then I sat for a minute thinking, no, hang on a minute, Portuguese time. That's not right, is it? It's 7:45, because what they say is that when it translates, they say a quarter before 8.
Yes.
Which means 7:45, which in English we would say 7:45, and we'd have 7 rather than 8 on the timing, but they will say a quarter before 8.
Yeah.
So I nearly made a miss a bus. Luckily, when your brain whirs slowly and you sit there going, no, hang on a minute, I'm going to run back over and tell her it's
all the time. Yeah, and it dawns on you, doesn't it, what the consequences could be of this. And I've had that. I booked a haircut, and I said, I think it was like, what must it have been? It was a time that could have worked at either time. It's a 24-hour clock thing, isn't it? Oh, I think it was 3 or 3. So
3 and 13, I get them confused.
Yeah,
I really struggle to make them sound different.
Yeah, and then you don't know if someone's using the 24-hour clock or not. So am I supposed to be there at 1 o'clock on the 24-hour clock? Was I supposed to be there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? I know what I'll do. I'll go at 1 o'clock just in case. And then I see the surprised look on the face of the hairdresser and say, oh, no, I was just walking past.
See you in a couple of hours, yeah.
Bye. But if you don't want to make mistakes like that, then maybe have a look at Snapshot, which is very easily downloadable, of course. Let me, I should have put this link in some time ago into the chat, and I'll do that now. But we'll move on. While I'm finding that, I'm popping it into the chat. Your book selection is here. Some people might not know that you're a prolific author. Tell us a little bit about the books, Ali.
Yeah, well, this one, the one I featured really this time round, is because it's Cat the Dog's story. It was the first, I can't believe it was a year ago it was published. I mean, that's quite frightening to me. But part of the money that I make as profit, I donate to local animal rescue charities. So the dog Neru that we were looking at, the pointer, that's Aiza, our local kennel here in Algarve. They get a donation. Ginny, the lady that found Cat for me in Spain, she runs SOSA, SOS Algarve Animals. They get a donation. And there's also, I found a specific Spanish water dog rescue in the UK, tiny little charity. So I had great delight at the beginning of May on the first anniversary of donating. So each of them got €250, but I gave Ginny 350. Just
nice,
she was such part of Cat's history. So I've been amazed at how successful Cat the Dog's been. It's her story, it's her rescue story, it's in her voice. So I've had a few people go, oh, I don't usually like stories where it's the dog's voice, but I always say, well, I've tried to do justice to her. I found her a very intelligent dog, so I tried to really write something that was fitting for her. But I've had so many amazing reviews on there, and it's literally from today for 3 months. If you're in America and you've got Amazon Prime, you can read it free. It's selected for the Prime program, which is quite a privilege as well. So that's nice. So
very good.
It's all there. But yeah, 7 books in total. So it's
wow, and a painter and now a magazine publisher. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I went past Mark Hurst a little too hastily there. Looks like he might be a golfer.
He's a golfer, yeah. He started a new company called Getaway Golfer, which is helping people holiday in the Algarve who want to play golf. But he's certainly the expert around, which I don't play golf, so I left it all to him to tell me where the best courses are, if you're a beginner, where to play. But he shares a few of his favourite sort of drinks. Oh, he's got an interesting drink as well. Let me see if I can. Here you go. I've got the page up here for you. I give a list of questions and let people choose. But I said, oh, can you recommend a Portuguese wine? Now, have you ever tried this? He likes to drink white port and tonic, and he particularly likes a 10-year-old white port. He serves it with Fever True Mediterranean tonic and a sprig of rosemary.
Great.
Never tried that one before. Sounds good.
Yeah, that is, and I think it's quite on trend at the moment. The Portonico, probably always been for the Portuguese, but the expats, I think, enjoying that. Yes, Portonico, great idea, excellent recommendation, Mr. Hurst, fantastic.
Yes, I like that one.
Cat's questions. Oh, it's fancy dress time.
I know. I know some people love dressing their dogs up, but I have to say, most of the outfits, if you read the article, are hilariously funny, because the one thing Molly doesn't like she's in America, so it's the UPS delivery man. They wear a brown uniform with the little patch.
Yes, and shorts.
Molly really doesn't like the UPS delivery, and there's a picture of her dressed up as a UPS delivery. It's really sweet, holding a little parcel and everything in the outfit. So,
all right. So that's Molly, 13 and a half. Well done, Molly McIntyre.
Yeah, it's a good story behind her. She's a very much loved, very sweet little dog. So
wonderful. A Dachshund Teckle dog, right? Teckle Jack Russell Beagle mix. Interesting there. Fellow author of yours, who is behind Leave Well Alone, Don't Come Looking, Search No Further, The Phone Call, The Wrong Key, and Her Missing Husband. I think she might be a crime writer.
She's a thriller writer, yeah. She's very good. And actually, Her Missing Husband, today is release date. So today is literally the launch of that new book. She's a fantastic indie author, and she's done so amazingly well on Amazon with them. And she's lovely. She's a really nice person. She's based in the UK. She's got twin boys, but she really she writes a book that really keeps you guessing all the way through. You know, sometimes you read a book and you go, oh, I worked it out by chapter 4. I know who did it. You'll never get that with one of AJ Campbell's books. You'll be gripped to the end. She's very easy to read, characters that you can really relate to. And obviously with my police background, I'm quite a fiend for, oh, that would never happen, or that's not real. Yeah, right. Yeah. But she actually really keeps it real and writes really good. Really impressed with her. She's good.
Okay, and that's AJ Campbell. Great name as well, right? I don't know if that's a real name, but AJ Campbell shortlisted for the Adult Prize for Fiction at the Selfie Book Awards 2023. And out today, Her Missing Husband, which is quite chilling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Talk about AJ Campbell and Her Missing Husband. Dave, in Focus Photography, knows a thing or two about photographing real estate. Does he do it commercially as well in the Algarve?
Yes, yeah, he does. He mostly does rent, but it is interesting. He's done the difference. Last month we talked about rental properties and what to look for in a good photo. This month, obviously, it's different if you're trying to sell your house. You're not trying to sell a lifestyle as much as you are the actual location and the property. So it's quite an interesting article there on how he actually approaches, photographing a real estate property. Beautiful houses in there as well, some of them. He gets to look around all these exciting houses. I'm quite jealous sometimes.
It's like through the keyhole, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's there on official business. When I was a postman in Devon, I went to amazing houses that people wouldn't otherwise see. And it's when you're in a trade of some sort that you do get this sort of access all areas, don't you, that other mere muggles don't get to see. So, I bet he sees some amazing... I bet he sees some amazing sites, generally speaking, before it all gets tidied up as well.
Yes.
You've got some recommendations here for keen readers, I think.
Yeah, I think I reviewed 11 books this month. I read 12 books in total, but I'm saving one of them not released yet. Yeah, I like reading books. But the memoirs, two of the first two there, the Unpacking for Greece, that's today as well. That's released. That's a really good book if you want to read about traveling in Greece. And The Crossing 51 is out this month as well by Debbie. That's another really interesting book. So I read lots of different genres, so I like to review them and share them. So
my neighbour, who's just moved in across the road, brought me a bag of brilliant books, a lot of non-fiction stuff. There are some very interesting non-fiction books around at the moment. I'm not a great or keen reader, but she's inspired me. And I think she gave us a classic copy of Aldous Huxley as well, Brave New World. Great. Thank you, neighbour Grassa over the road for that. So here we go. We are here, a final and beautiful image and with a duck to boot. And thank you very much for the plug there for Good Morning Portugal too, Ali. Much appreciated. And that's where to download your own. AlysonSheldrake.com/news is where you download Snapshot. And then obviously there's access to all of Alyson's empire of publishing.
Growing empire it is, isn't it?
It is. I love photography and will definitely read your monthly news, says Anna, who's not far from you. So, it's just after 10 o'clock. Sorry to keep you a little longer than scheduled. Are you up for looking at a few more Algarvian photographs, Ali? A couple more minutes?
Of course.
I'll do the dad jokes with you as well. So that by way of compensation to Dave, after exposing him as the time class, you can cheer him up with some dad jokes, which we'll do as well before we go. Victoria, very beautiful look. Look at that.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, Portimao area.
Very good. Yeah.
Very good. I'll tell you what we've got here. Praia de Rocha sunset, Faraguda Castle, of course, as you've spotted there, and Parchal sunset as well. And a little bit of video as well from Victoria. Thank you very much for this. Boats bobbing in the harbour, I think. We did start the show talking about cassoulet and beans. A little bit of wind there. We don't just throw this together. We started with wind and we ended with a bit of wind there. And we can stick around for the Iberian FM phone-in because that little lad, the 14-year-old lad, is still missing. It's actually, I spoke about Jaden the last time you were here after your appearance and Fabrizio and Ian. So I'll be talking about that again and see if we can help the mum, because he's still missing in Portugal. We'll do that on the Iberian FM phone in, but not until we've had a look at, I think, a visual dad joke from James as well this morning. Do you like these? How much would it cost to buy a singing ensemble for my birthday? Do you mean acquire? Fine. How much to acquire a singing ensemble for my birthday? Yeah, that's the right response. Oh dear, I think there. Well said. I always have anxiety when crossing. Here we go. You're near Spain. I always have anxiety when crossing into another country. It's a borderline personality disorder. Oh dear, and ouch. I once dated a chiropractor. She was very manipulative. And I only hit 2 good balls on the golf. Here's one for Mark Hurst.
Yes.
I only hit 2 good balls on the golf course today. Unfortunately, I didn't see that rake in the bunker. And there was some clarification yesterday. I was really quite stunned by a dad joke which said something like, global warming is going to kill every single person on the planet. And I thought, that's rather dark. And it said, I'm glad I'm married. And I thought the joke was like, I'm married and it's going to kill everyone. And I won't, that'll be the end of my marriage. And I was thinking, that's a really dark dad joke. But it's like, global warming is going to kill every single person. I'm glad I'm already married. Well done, Carl. The penny has dropped finally. Ali, last word to you. Always fantastic. I love it how you make us a little edited version of your massive newsletter.
Yeah.
We talk through it and we have a look at the Algarve and we have a look at Portuguese life. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Last word to you.
Oh, well, no, just thank you for letting me come on. I love chatting to you. I love being on here. I love all the comments that everyone puts forward. So, and I'm always up. If there's something somebody would like to see in Snapshot, just drop me a message and I'll see if I can add it. No problem
Very
at all.
good. All right. You've got the link for getting yours. It's in the chat. Ali, thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye for now. I love
Thanks, Carl. Have a good one.
Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. There she goes. Let's go straight into the Iberian FM phone in. Ciao, ciao. Well, welcome to the Iberian FM phone-in this morning. Not so much of a phone-in because we haven't got a phone. My 4-year-old has run off with it. Not many phone-ins say that. And the other thing about it being a phone-in, we seem to be having more success as a phone-out rather than a phone-in. So maybe we'll pursue that. Yesterday, we made 2 outbound calls during the Good Morning Portugal show. We wished Phil a happy birthday, which I dare say he is still celebrating. Phil had a significant birthday yesterday and sent us a message back. Soon after we sent him a message that was recorded live on air. You see, we can do that on WhatsApp. We can send a voice message. Thank you, T-Duck, Anna and James for further correspondence this morning. And we'll get around to those tomorrow on Feel Good Friday, where Bobby O'Reilly joins us. And I think we'll have a look at the newspapers, the aforementioned Portugal Resident and Portugal News tomorrow. So we'll have a look through those and have a chat about them with Bobby tomorrow. First Friday of the month tomorrow. And sadly, I have to say, we will return this morning to the story of the missing 14-year-old lad here in Portugal. We spoke to his mother on the Iberian phone-in on the 4th of May. I remember that. It's a significant date, of course. And it was on this particular version, if you like, of the Good Morning Portugal show where we'd spoken to Fabrizio and Ian, and then Ali, and then talked to Rebecca, Jaden's mum. And so let's have a look at what's going on. The bad news is he hasn't been traced. He's with his father in Portugal. Well, let's see what's being said about this here in the Portugal Resident that we of course mentioned before, and Bruce, the publisher thereof. Much too young to be working, much too young to be deprived of his school friends and an education. Jaden is just 14 and in the company of his father, who is refusing all entreaties to return the child home. So I guess behind the scenes, work is continuing to get in touch with the dad, who it's believed Jayden is with here in Portugal, and who has Jayden working with him as a plasterer's mate in central Portugal. This from Natasha Don in the Portugal Resident, and was published a few days ago. Let's have a look at the date line on this. Yeah, the 26th of May. Mother begs Portuguese and expat foreigners to keep an eye out. No matter how many requests for information on her missing son have been sent out, British mum Rebecca Jones continues to wait for that nugget of information that will lead her to 14-year-old Jayden, whose surname is that of his father, Andrew Pearson. Jayden Pearson, then, is who we're looking for here. And Father Andrew Pearson is refusing all entreaties to return him home. After various sightings in Algarve, Nazaré, Castelo Branco, Rebecca has deduced that Andrew is trying to volunteer in off-grid areas with the background of being a plasterer. She has heard that Jayden, who has only just recently celebrated his 14th birthday, is working with him. And if this is the case, Jayden, says Natasha Don here in the Portugal Resident, Jayden is technically being exploited. The minimum work age in Portugal is 16, while schooling is mandatory until the age of 18. Jayden hasn't been in school since 2022, when he was still 13. So anyone benefiting from work he is doing with his father will be in a difficult legal position, adds Natasha here. As far as Rebecca Jones is concerned, she just wants Jayden home. The 35-year-old spends much of her time pushing for publicity of this case, as any mother would. And she spoke to us pretty much this time last month, and we had a chat with her. She's back in the UK, and she joined us on the Iberian FM phone-in. For more details on this tragic case, where relationship breakdown appears to be ruining the chances of young Jayden's education, click here. So let's get a bit more background information and see if we can help jog your memory. Perhaps you might have seen father and son. And so I'll give you the contact details as well. We're clicking through to the first of the reporting in the Portugal Resident. So let me bring that onto the screen now. A few comments coming in, and let's have a look. We've got other matters being discussed in the chat here. And great show, says Victoria. Thank you very much. Well, great show. Thanks to your pictures in the earlier segment there. And Peter Nubian, I think, having a chat about family matters. I know that feeling my mum was awfully manipulative and destroyed a lot of lives. My goodness. Okay. Sorry to hear that, Peter. Let's go to other difficult family dynamics. This of the 14-year-old lad who's missing here in Portugal with his father. And someone questioned me, actually, when I published the video of the conversation with the mum. I was accused of wrongly calling him a missing person. I mean, he's missing. He's not technically a missing person if you want to be very pedantic about it, as he's not listed as a missing person and he's not being searched for as a missing person in that sense by the police. But he is missing from his mother, and he's meant to be in school back in the UK. So let's be perhaps a little bit more open in our harsh definitions. Point here is that the mum wants to be reunited with her son. Sticking to that is probably the best thing to do here. Heartbroken mum asked the people of Portugal, please help me find my son, she says. This is back in April, 28th of April, again from the Portugal Resident. Jayden Pearson is with Father Andrew, possibly at that point in Algarve, Nazaré, and heartbroken mum Rebecca Jones, 35, has appealed in traditional newspaper style, putting her age in there, has appealed to the people of Portugal to help bring her son home. He's in the company of his 33-year-old father, Andrew. Andrew has a police record for theft and a community service order to serve until August of this year. So that's another part of this, is that the father has a community service order to be honoured in the UK, which is not happening at the moment, putting him in further difficulty with the authorities. Rebecca stresses nothing will happen to him. On that note, if he just comes back to the UK now with their son, who is 2 weeks away from his 14th birthday at the time, so he's 14 now, the community service order still has time to be fulfilled. That will be until August, of course. I'm absolutely desperate, said Rebecca. We all are. I have his younger brother, Matthew, with me, and he is so confused. Since this happened, he feels abandoned by his dad, and he doesn't understand why he cannot speak with his elder brother. All we want is to have Jayden home for his birthday. Now, that didn't happen. He's still here in Portugal with his dad, or thought to be anyway, the last sightings, and working as a plasterer's mate with his dad. Andrew's family have been massively supportive all through this. She adds, we just want Jaden home. The drama began last August. All four, that would be mum, dad, Jaden and Matthew, the two boys, went on a family holiday to Lagos. I honestly thought everything was okay, says the NHS assistant. But as the holiday was drawing to a close, Andrew lost his passport, or at least this is what he said, and it was agreed that Rebecca and Matthew would fly home ahead of him and Jaden, as Andrew called round family members for financial help to get an emergency travel document. That was the story, says Rebecca. I only realised later it was all a way of getting me out of the picture. 15 minutes before Andrew and his son were due to take a return flight to the UK, Andrew blocked Rebecca and his mother on his phone, and the nightmare began. Rebecca has filed missing persons reports. She has been in touch with PSP police, who she says have been helpful. That is the poster then that has been circulated. There's the boy, there's the father. And at that time, they were believed to be in Lagos. Further sightings in Alcobaça, Castelo Branco, and believed at the moment to be working as plasterer and plasterer's mate, probably in more off-grid locations. PSP agents searched a location in Alcobaça where Andrew and Jaden had been seen, but were unable to find them. Through the months, Andrew has occasionally been in touch via email or messages with Rebecca and his family, but never to give Jaden's location. I haven't spoken with Jaden, so she's not spoken directly to her son since September the 13th of last year, as reported here, says the distraught woman. BBC's Look North programme carried news of the situation earlier. This was back when this was reported. And the Mirror, Mail, Daily Star, Wales Online, Hull, Daily Mail and Doncaster Free Press, where I believe the family lived, Doncaster in the UK, Yorkshire in the UK, have all written articles, but up till now, there has been nothing in the Portuguese mainstream beyond messages shared over social media. So we're doing our bit. I guess there's a stronger chance of the two, the pair, the dad and the son, being spotted by expats, potentially, in central Portugal, if that's where they still are. We just want to hug him again, says Rebecca of her son. Of course she does. Jaden has now been a year without school, a year without contact with his friends, and it is not in any way clear whether he has been receiving an education or even what he's doing. But Rebecca feels certain her son is still in Portugal with his father. Now, if you have any details, and I'll cut and paste these to the comments section, anyone with information can contact Lagos PSP Police on 282-780-240. That is 282-780-240. Or Rebecca herself. The mum's phone number is a UK mobile 0749 832 2390. And just to make sure I've got that right, I will paste it into the comments so you can see. If you have spotted them, you can call either the PSP police. If you spotted the father and son, you can call the PSP police in Lagos, who I think are investigating this, and Rebecca, the mum, directly. Equally, if Andrew and Jaden see this article, says Rebecca, tell them, please come home. And any other information, I guess you could send to natasha.don@portugalresident.com as well. Okay, putting those details into the comments now to help us, to help the mum, help Rebecca try and find her son, Jaden Pearson. That's the name he's using. His father is Andrew Pearson. He's Jaden Pearson, 14 years of age, missing in central Portugal. So there you go. I'm going to put that on the screen now so you can see that. The details to call if you have a sighting to report. I'm going to leave it there for the time being, but let's see what we can do to help that mum. UK, Rebecca, back there in Doncaster. I hope this ends soon, successfully well, and that the son is reunited with his mum and his mates back in school. I think there's some discussion going on here, not referring here to Rebecca, I don't think, but Victorian parents and people talking about the relationship with their parents and how these patterns resonate throughout. And it certainly sounds like a bit of dysfunctional family stuff going on with Rebecca, Andrew and Jaden there. This is so central, isn't it, to our lives, the effect that our upbringings have had. And good to know that help is available with this. You know, if you do want to learn the lessons of and maybe transform and say, you know, this sort of behavior stops here, we can do that, can't we, in our own lifetime? Perhaps a conversation for another Iberian FM episode edition. So we'll see you tomorrow for some Feel Good Friday action. And we may see you, or I may see you tonight. I don't know. I can't answer your call, I don't think, Andrew, because as you saw, my boy ran off with my phone earlier on during the show. I can't take your call. I'm really not trying to stop you talking on this show, although it may look like that at the moment, Lord Gilchrist. So sorry about that today. We will move on, and obviously we'll keep this open. If any sightings of Jaden, you can, of course, let us know here on the Good Morning Portugal show or Iberian FM phone in, and we'll pass it on to the appropriate people. The mum really wants to see her lad again, and the longer it goes on, I guess the more trouble the father will find himself in. So it's probably best to cut your losses there, mate, and do something about it, and get talking, get connected, get reconnected with the folks back in the UK, because it sounds like it's going to get more and more difficult for you. See you this evening, perhaps, then, for the Porto versus Lisboa battle of the best place to live here in Portugal. That's the bout in which I will be a referee this evening. And that will be Trevor representing Lisbon and surrounding areas, and Hank, legend, up there in Porto, representing Porto and surrounding areas this evening from 7:30. Join me for that. Well, I have my white shirt and my dicky bow on and looking for a nice clean fight, but who knows what will happen between those two. And then at 9, the Dream Team session. Talk to those expats, Portugal, approved professionals, the package that has been put together to help you to move to Portugal. Find Expats Portugal via the Good Morning Portugal website, goodmorningportugal.com, and we'll be hanging out with some of the Dream Team tonight from 9 o'clock, answering your questions on how to move successfully, efficiently, and with best possible value in moving to Portugal as well from 9 o'clock with the Dream Team this evening. Have a great day, and maybe see you at 7:30, maybe see you at 9, if not see you tomorrow morning for some Feel Good Friday action. Take care and bye for now.